So on this video I'm going to be looking at the Elgato Key Light Air. Now again, I do actually own a full key light. This time round what I wanted to do is actually have a potential portable version. Now when I mean portable, it's not completely portable. There's still stuff like the power that needs to be supplied, and obviously I'd need to unplug it and move it from where it is, but it's not clamped to my desk like the other one is. So the beauty of this is it's a little bit smaller, so it doesn't have such a big footprint, but it does give me a little bit of flexibility to have it somewhere else in the house if I need to do some filming elsewhere, which sometimes often happens when I've got larger products to review, or I just need to increase the lighting somewhere while I'm trying to capture some shots. Now I do have these both set up at the moment, so on the left I've got my full key light, and on the right, which is probably your left, is the Key Light Air. So when it comes to assembly, it's quite straightforward. That you've got this base and the adjustable pole that we're going to use in this scenario. Now it does come with a nice simple little twizzly nut or bolt. So when it comes to mounting, it's just a simple case of twizzling in this bit here. And then utilising the adjustment clamp that it does recommend in the instructions, which I read afterwards, that you install this slightly differently. However, I thought it was easier to actually do this laying down, particularly for filming reasons. So what I do need to do is clearly make sure that's attached at the same time. So what we're doing is aligning the clamp and the actual stand, and then just inserting the bolt with the twizzly knob, and that will be fully then put together. Now you can adjust it just by loosening the nut itself. So talking around the key lights I mentioned earlier, that is my original one that's set in the corner there, and over this way is the new one, which isn't turned on at the moment, but I can absolutely turn that one on. Oh, I will turn it on, there we go. So that one is now on. Now the good thing is with this, like I said, it does come on this stand, which is adjustable. And what it does have, which you can hopefully see here, is some measurement areas. So again, really straightforward. On the actual back, as you probably saw when I built this out, you've got the option there to have your power in and a simple on and off switch, and the reset button is located just there. So kind of size wise in comparisons, you can see the difference. So the Air is certainly not as big as the main key light, but for what I want on this occasion, that's absolutely going to suffice. So when it comes to the Elgato control center, I'll just bring it up. we have these wonderful controls. Now, to add a new device, it is quite simple to just click on the ad and it will go and search for the accessories. Now, there is a routine to reset if you need to. You can also, if you're struggling, and also if you've configured it with that into VLAN connectivity, but maybe have a particular firewall rule available, you can also add the IP manually. Now, one thing to note, I managed to get this to work absolutely fine. Obviously, what I wanted to do potentially was to put it on my IoT network, but that would mean me setting static IP addresses on this particular two devices, and then for setting up firewall rules, which I wasn't massively keen on doing. So either way, the control center itself, we've got the option to rename, which I've absolutely done because, let's be honest, we need to have a little bit of variance between the two. So what I can do is, you'll probably notice that I go a bit darker on one side if I start turning these on and off, and you can see the reflections on my face. But what we will be doing is basically being able to turn both of these off, and you can see it gets a lot darker if I turn these on. What I can also do is change the color variance and temperature of these, and also the brightness. Now, if I do this to the full extent right here, I will probably blind myself because it is extremely bright. So yeah, I do have those options. But the great thing is, obviously, I can match them or have variance if I want to have a little bit of contrast to myself. But yeah, really simple. You can also link this with other Elgato devices. So one thing you will see me do in another video is use this using the Elgato Stream Deck, because that has a profile built in or available to download. You can absolutely set up this control center to do that functionality. Now, these lights are an absolute godsend when it comes to things like applying lighting, because particularly where I'm situated from a recording point of view, I have the challenge of the natural light sits on my left, which might well be your right, depending on how the video is mirrored. But I have a north-facing office, so what generally happens is that I don't get a lot of natural sunlight hit. So I don't get, thankfully, the streams of glare coming in, but what I do get is very large periods of dark, particularly in the winter where we're at now. So just something that it certainly helps me having these two key lights, because it gives you a little bit more lighting and punch to your videos. So what do I think of the Key Light Air? Well, one thing, obviously, it's not such a big footprint, which, depending upon how you need your lighting to be and how dark your room is, might be a key consideration. However, what it does have in its benefit is the portability of it. What you can do is obviously take it, it sits on a current stand, it's adjustable from that point, and we can take it anywhere we want to go as long as we can supply a mains socket. It also realistically doesn't really matter that it's got a smaller footprint, because it still emits the same amount of light. The control center that I use is exactly the same as the one I use for the full key light. It can actually match all of the color range from white balance through to the temperature, exactly the same, and I can have them both in sync. One of the big things that I particularly like is that I have my wireless and my LAN on a completely different VLAN, and there is the ability to cross-communicate across those with the Elgato control software or center software, as long as you allow that into VLAN communication traffic. So you're not limited to the fact that it has to be on your net, on your standard network, because obviously if you had a load of these devices and you're just a standard home user, those 250 odd leases that you'd have available would soon start to diminish. I would imagine, though, the kind of people that have those number of devices have probably got a bigger subnet configured anyway. But the light itself is absolutely fantastic. Like I said, it's really, I wanted it for the portability, so it ticks all those boxes. If you have liked this review, again, there is an affiliate link in the description. Please also hit the like and subscribe and even the bell, and I will see you next time.